Jumbo!
Hakuna Matata. We are happy, sustainable family, Sara, Sophie, Joy, and Daniel. And we just came back from our fantastic trips to
Tanzania and Zanzibar. It was amazing.
It were 18 amazing days between these two places. We were even able to make a bit of safari with our kids. That it's not obvious, I would say.
Yes, of course.
And now in this video we will explain you what we did, how we organized it, and our tips for making an Africa trip perfect for your family.
In the meanwhile, I go to work. Bye bye, Jumbo.
So, first of all, we departed from Milano airport. We went direct flight to Zanzibar. So the flight is a very important moment, as these international flights with two kids, even if they're little or big, it's always a big challenge. We had the night flight for going there, which I thought it's super, but we had the day flight for coming back. And I think the day flights are much better. So when you start organizing, I would rather suggest day flights, because in the night flight you have the pressure that the kids will sleep, so that they will have immediately no jet lag and that they will start the day good. There is no time change, or really a slight time change between Tanzania and Zanzibar and Europe. But still, the night flight, they slept like 4 hours, and so the day after they were really tired. The whole day was quite intense and quite tiring. While the flight back was a day flight, so they slept a little bit. They slept 2-3 hours during the trip. They watched a lot of movies. Okay, I shouldn't say this in a Montessori way, but they watched quite some movies in the going back, but still it was a super coming back. We arrived in Milan, we had still 2-3 hours of car, but we had a very good day trip. In the night they slept the whole night and it was no jet lag at all. So I liked it quite a lot. The original plan of our trip was to stay a bit in Zanzibar and maybe go a few days on safari. Going to safari with little kids is never as easy, and you know, going to safari is very expensive, especially in Africa and in Tanzania. We will make a second video where we explain the costs of such a trip. This trip is a trip that should last, at least for us it was a lifetime trip, a trip that you won't make a lot of times in your life, so we prepared it quite good. We were really looking forward for this trip, and so we were thinking quite good. And if you're also considering to go one day to Africa, maybe with your family, we can give you some basic tips in this video. So first of all, we wanted to go to Zanzibar. Many people suggested to us Zanzibar as a beautiful sea destination, as a beautiful culture destination where you could see still a bit the African culture. And for everybody that has been to Africa, you know how amazing that country is, how amazing that people are, and how amazing that light. I will never forget the light that you have in Africa. It's really something incredible. Zanzibar was an incredible destination. We started in the north of Zanzibar in Nungwi Beach. I did it like that because I knew Nungwi is where it's more the commercial part of Zanzibar, and especially in the first week after that night flight, I wanted to be with the family in a calm, tranquil place where the kids could really steal from the stress of the school start, because in September in Italy the school starts again, so they had kindergarten and their summer rhythm was interrupted by the school start. So I wanted to calm them down after the school start. And of course the trip considers still 8-9 hours of flights plus the transfer to the airport, the check-ins, everything. It's always very stressful for the kids. They're not used to that. Kids are really routine people, and you bring them quite out of that. So the first week I planned the first 7 days in Nungwi Beach, which was amazing. Here some pictures, some insights of that beach. It's incredible. You can go even for some day trips from Nungwi to Mtende to other nice islands. We did a day trip. It was very nice. It was not spectacular, I would say, but quite a nice day trip to Mtende Island. You cannot actually go on the island because it's a private island, but then you can go to see the dolphins, which for me it was too touristic because there were thousands of boats watching for 3 dolphins. There are nicer places to go to watch the dolphins, and then you go to a beach to have lunch. In Nungwi, there is, let's say, one issue on the beach. You cannot really go on the beach and relax there on the beach. There are so many beach boys coming to you, trying to sell you something. And of course, one of the reasons you also go to Africa, I think, is a bit, or at least to try to support the local people. So you for sure will try to support. You will buy some bracelets. You at the end, they're such good salespeople, you have to say. Also, they speak 10,000 languages. Probably they will speak your language if you go there, and they will be able they have a CRM system. Not even the sales guy here have such good CRM systems that they know your name, they know your birth, they know everything. You will have to invest something. But of course, after a while, the third time you go to the beach and you're assaulted by these beach boys, you prefer staying in the resort and going really to the beach only to go into the sea. This was a bit the topic. And of course, you're always thinking, you're in a poor country, and you see it as soon as you leave the airport. You see the interior, you see the villages, you see that you're not in a luxurious country, you see that there are issues. So you're always asking yourself, okay, how can I support? Am I helping the people, or am I helping only the people from the hotels? So you always try to support also the people working in the places. Because the minimum salary, the minimum wage in Africa is very low. So in Zanzibar, they spoke about 150 euro, and the prices are not that cheap. So you try to support by tips, you try to support by other things, and you're always asking the question, okay, is the hotel paying a fair wage to the people, which I don't think is always the case. So I was quite looking to these points because it's a big topic in Africa. Back to the Nungwi Beach, the first week was amazing. So in the resort, we quite enjoyed the resort. It was an all-inclusive, so we had the dinner and the breakfast, so we didn't have to think too much about lunch and about everything, especially in this first week that we arrived. It was a super week. The second week, we decided to go to the eastern part of the island, which we went to Jambiani, which is close to Paje Beach. It's an amazing place. There are quite some famous beaches there, from the Jambiani to Paje. Then there is the Rock restaurant, which is the most famous, the most Instagrammable beach in the whole island. Here, the difference between here and the north of the island is that on this part, the tide is very different. So when there is low tide, you can walk like kilometers into the water till you reach a beach, which is also amazing. At the beginning, I thought, it's not so nice because you have to walk so much and then only to reach the beach. But when you walk this way, one day Sarah had the amazing idea that we should walk till there. You will have the first part, which is full of these corals and of sea eagles, which of course I went on a sea eagle, taking my injury, and I still have them in. But still, if you walk till there, and sometimes these beach boys, which on this part of the island are very less. So if you're really disturbed by this kind of vacation, you should rather not go to the north, but more prefer this part. If you're able to walk out, there is like paradise. I would say like the picture I saw of Maldives and Seychelles, it's like they're out. It's really like sand, only white sand, no people. It's amazing. It's an amazing place. October is a bit rain season in Zanzibar, but we had the rain really little, so it's a good season because it's not too crowded. but the weather is quite good. Already November, so our last days, we were there 18 days. The last days, you saw that the weather was changing and the rainfall was more frequent. So they say in November the rainfall is more frequent. October, we didn't have problems with the rainfall. So check out, very good, because there is another heavy rain season in March, April. If it's always raining, I don't think the sea holiday is so nice. Also here we were in a nice resort. We had a super view over the sea. Here some pictures, some images. We really like the room. It's not so costly. You will see that in the cost of the trip. Follow that video as well. Follow the channel first of all, so you will see more insights about family life, family trips and everything. The Jambiani Beach, we liked it quite a lot. Here we didn't have full board, we had only the breakfast. In the evening we changed a bit restaurants, always staying a bit there, because at night in all the African city villages, it's not so much suggested to go to the villages. But the resorts, the villages and so on, they say they're quite secure. I never felt insecure or there is a lot of security in the villages, so try to avoid the nights. I also sometimes by myself, I went running every day on the beach, plus I went into the villages to check out the real life. I brought also Sophie one day. She wanted to see how people live there, how it's different between us. And Sophie, which is 5 years old, she made also very nice critical questions. Why people in Africa are poorer that we are supposed to see. And these were really good critical questions. And I like this. I wanted to hear that from her, that her vision of the world is already getting broader, and that it's not only a life like we're used in US, in Europe, in UK, that the life is very, very different. And in Africa it was very, very different. From there, we decided at the beginning of the trip, so it was quite a last minute decision to go and make safari. We had to go from the east of Zanzibar, so we saw in this case the east, and we went on a daily trip to a beach in the south, which was amazing beach. I will write the name here in the caption. That beach was my favorite beach of the whole island. You can do it in a daily trip if you are on the eastern part of the island. From the north, it's very far. At the end, the island is very small, but the roads are so bad that the daily transports for going from north to south, you will need 2.5 and even more hours. And with a family, you cannot stay in these shaking cars for more than 2 hours, in my opinion, without anyone vomiting it. So we saw also that island. After that, we went back to Stone Town, where the airport. Stone Town is on the western part of the island. From there, we took the airplane to go to safari. So we went into safari to Arusha. We booked a super, super nice bungalow, which is between Ngorongoro and Lake Manyara. So I will write also the name of the hotel that we booked there here. We made the airport pickup from Arusha, which is like 2.5 hours till the parks. And there are 3 or 4 options in that area of parks that you can visit. So there is one, the Tarangire Park, there is the Lake Manyara National Park, there is the Ngorongoro Park, and there is the Serengeti Park. We were already inside of a gateway to the national parks, which means that the animals already in our cottages, they were already animals. We saw the hippo and the zebras, the giraffes, the monkeys already in the villages. So our reasoning was the following. In my opinion, you cannot go, you can, of course, everything can be made, but with 2 little kids like ours are, you cannot do all the national parks, because going to safari means entering that car at 7, if you want even later at 8 a.m., but you're starting missing already animals, and coming back around 4, 5, 6 p.m. So and you're the whole time in the car. That means very long days. We decided to do it one day. So our decision was based on this. We said, okay, let's go already in a place which is not too far from the national park. If you can also book inside the national parks, but it gets much more expensive. So we were a bit outside and it was already very expensive. We decided to go to the Ngorongoro Park, which was very nice because all the animals are based there. And plus it was not too far. So we departed at 7:30 of the second day. The first day we passed it there in our residence. It was super nice. We saw already the zebras, the gorillas, and not the gorillas, sorry, the monkeys. And we went there a bit to the swimming pool. We enjoyed there the atmosphere of really the interior land of Tanzania. The second day we departed at 7 a.m. We went into the Ngorongoro, which for us was the best option. It looked a bit nicer than the Lake Manyara Park, which was also there. And it was closer than Tarangire and it was closer than Serengeti. And it was amazing. Also for the kids, we saw, okay, the departing was early. The way to the national parks were still 1.5 hours, but you could see, because we told them today we're going to see this animal, that they were excited, that there was excitement. And in fact, in the park, we saw the lions, we saw a buffalo fight between lions and buffalo, we saw the elephant. The kids were, I think, Joy, who is 2 years old, maybe she will not remember her whole life, but she will have still the pictures for her. But Sophie is already, who is 5.5, she will have this as a lifetime trip. Of course, the older the kids will be, the more they will remember of these amazing trips, which are really lifetime trips. The Ngorongoro so ended around 5 p.m. We had still a nice dinner because here we had the all-included pack, so we had breakfast, lunch and dinner. You go to sleep very early because in the night there is of course nothing, so you go to sleep around 8 p.m. and you wake up around 7 a.m. In the last day, so we were 3 days, we decided we didn't go to Serengeti, to Tarangire. We went to visit the Lake Manyara. We didn't enter the national park because consider entering all the national parks always has a cost around 70-80 euro dollar per person. So it's already quite expensive only entering. So as we saw all the animals, we said the third day, okay, let's go only to the lake to see the lake. We went there to see the lake. We saw there's some flamingos, the pink flamingos. We imagined how the hippo who came every night to our residence, who was sleeping during the day, they're sleeping there in the lake. So it was also, and it started a bit raining. It was amazing. You will see all the Maasai, the real Maasai. In Zanzibar, you will see the fake Maasais, as they call them, the ones who will ask you money, sell you something. Here you see the real Maasai culture. If you don't know them, I suggest you to watch some videos about the Maasai culture because it's amazing seeing them there, how they live with nature, how they survive with nature, how they look for all the solutions with nature. It's amazing. From there, in the afternoon, we had again the airport transfer and we went back to Zanzibar for the last 2 days. The last 2 days we planned from Stone Town. We wanted to visit still Stone Town and to make a day trip to the islands in front of Stone Town, where there are 3 very famous and nice islands, which are Nakupenda, which is a sand in the middle of the ocean, and Prison Island. Unfortunately, as I told at the beginning of the video, now the rain season is very, very, very heavy so it was only raining. So we visited only Stone Town. We made the last presents, the last days. We relaxed in the hotel. We chilled a bit in the hotel, which was good. And then we had the day flight on Sunday, which was the 18th day, to go back to Italy, and from Milan to go back. On Monday, the kids went already to school, but as it was a day flight on Sunday, so the kids were still sleeping a bit more than usual during the flight and during the trip by car, because we still have 3 hours from Milan to Bolzano. At the end, at Monday, even we sent them to school only till lunchtime because we didn't want to have the full day, which usually for them is till 4 p.m. But they were still good. We were still quite used. So this tip for going with them is, I think, to search for day flights is not a bad thing. I will myself consider it for the next tips. The rest, do never forget medicines also when you do trips like this, because trips like this are, Sophie, for instance, got an otitis. We called an international doctor, of course, but having medicines from Europe or US is never bad in a trip like this. Never forget the toys, books, and everything for the kids. So we gave these basic tips already. But we will do more videos about this also in future, and check out also the next video about the cost of this unforgettable trip. Follow the channel, and let's ask Sara, who is coming again from her job, what was your favorite place of
So
this
my
trip?
favorite place was Tanzania, was Ngorongoro. We were in an amazing place in the middle of the animals. So we were sleeping with in front zebras, hippos in the night. It was amazing. And Ngorongoro, it's amazing because it's like a volcano with in the surround the rainforest with elephant, giraffe, and inside there is savanna with lions, an amazing lake with pink flamingos and hippos. So like it was my favorite part. But of course with kids I will always suggest to stay even in a place like in a touristic village with swimming pool, because they make friends and they can have fun, they can just play. So I think for kids it's necessary to have like a bit of balance between safari and play.
The combination was key, to have both, to have Zanzibar and a bit of safari. Follow the channel.
Hakuna Matata.
Hakuna Matata.
Ciao Rafiki.
Ciao, ciao.